In our last visit with Eshin, we covered topics like how he encountered meditation for the first time, his motivations for leaving the US to study in Japan, what it means to be an ordained Buddhist monk, and a little bit about the origins of Buddhism. In this video, we talk about Buddhist training, if you ever wanted to quit while training, some of the hardest parts of that, and daily life being a Buddhist monk. It's so clean. Okay, so there's a lot I still want to get into, but let's talk about your training a little bit. I know you started at one temple, went to another temple, and why don't you tell me a little bit about the training, where you were, and what that training was like?
Sure. The first temple that my master took me to was a temple in a small, in the middle of nowhere, in the mountains in Okayama Prefecture, and it was called Toshoji, and it's a really beautiful old place, kind of, in Japanese we say boro. It's a run down kind of a building, because it's really old.
Kind of raggedy.
Raggedy, yeah, that's it. And that place was super cool, and it's a small monastery. Maybe
I love that. It was so raggedy. It was awesome.
yeah, it was great. Like sometimes snakes would come into the main hall because they'd come up through holes in the walls or the floors. And people would be like, Eshin, there's a snake in here. And I'm like, what kind is it? And nobody knows. You got to look. If you can't name it, it might bite you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to one in Okayama with like 30 or so monks training there, and nuns also at the same time, which was really cool.
So so women can be monks, or is the female version of a monk called a nun?
That's a funny question. Yeah, they're called monks and nuns, or the old Buddhist word is bhikkhu, is man, and bhikkhuni is woman. So
the nun is the female version of a monk, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in Japanese, like a monk is called a soryo, and then a female is called a ni soryo, and that ni is from bhikkhuni, from that Sanskrit word. So it's a kind of a funny thing, but
okay.
We're all monks, really.
Yeah.
Really, it's just.
But there's
monks.
Like separate sleeping quarters and showers and all that stuff.
Well, we use the same bath, but in Japan we all bathe at the same time, right? And the women will usually take a bath first.
Okay.
And then when they're done, there's a special wooden board that they'll take a mallet and go, buck, buck, buck. And about that time, if you hear that wooden board, you know it means, the women are out of the bath. So the men can then go and take a bath. And then after I spent about a year there, my master from this temple called that monastery and told me, well, I had joked with him, and Japanese people are not good at taking the jokes that we make as Americans. I told him, well, wouldn't it be funny if I went to the biggest, meanest, strictest temple in Japan? And then he called and said, hey, do you still want to go to that strict temple? And I said, I thought they said no because I have tattoos. And he said, it's okay. I argued with them. They will accept you now. And what am I going to do? I can't tell him no. So he transferred me to this big, much stricter, the largest training temple in Japan, and Eiheiji. And it was a ridiculous honor, like a lifetime rarity to be a non-Japanese person accepted into Eiheiji, and then to.
And how old is that temple?
800 years old.
Are you the first tatted person to be?
I'm surely not the first tatted person. I think there were some Yakuza guys who became monks, trying to run away from being bad as a gangster, and who went into Eiheiji. But I am surely one of the. There can't be even like 10 or 15 foreigners who have trained there in its whole history. Maybe some Chinese guys came over. That's possible to me, but from the West, it's really few, and I'm like.
So it's quite the honor.
It's a stupid honor. Like I can't even express it. Like whoa.
And was it that much stricter than what you had experienced?
Oh my Lord, incomparably.
Did you get any bruises along the way from the masters?
I got some pretty intense wear on my knees from doing what's called choki. I'll show you this, where we have to sit on our knees like this, with our hands in gasho like this, at perfect fist length away from our nose. Sometimes over an hour, and this hurts, and this that gets all kind of, calloused and stuff. Martial arts, you do stuff like that.
Man, I thought kneeling in a Catholic church was bad. That sounds
Yeah.
100 times worse.
But the good thing is it teaches you how much you can actually endure, and
Was that the point of it?
I think so. I think different people recognize that it means different things to different people, and to me, yeah, it was like break down my ego, my sense of my own limitations, my sense of protecting myself. Just give myself to the thing. I'm not gonna die. Just keep going.
So, were there restrictions while you were there, like alcohol?
Oh yeah.
Reading materials. I think you weren't able to, for those 2 years, you weren't able to play your trumpet, which you
Not
said
at all.
was
Yeah.
pretty difficult.
Yeah.
So there's a ton of restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what about inner monk to nun secret relationships that happen, and have you heard of them? And if they do happen, what happens?
Well, if you've heard of them, then probably there was a disciplinary action. Probably, humans get together and humans do human things. But, for the most part, most of us in the monasteries really tried to stick to the rules.
Yeah.
I think in the old days, maybe it was more common for people to hide and fall in love with each other for periods of time. It's just like anywhere the humans go, it happens, right? But
Are there rules that strictly forbid that?
yeah, it is very strictly forbidden, of course. In monasteries, we're supposed to be, of course, celibate. We're also supposed to be completely vegetarian, with one exception, that if someone gives us food that happens to have meat in it, then we have to eat it.
When you're like begging for alms on the streets or whatever.
Or somebody is just like, oh, I know there's a bunch of monks in here and they always need food, so I'm going to give this to the temple. And if it's a freely given gift, then a monk must take it.
And that does happen. People come.
Oh
and
yeah,
do it.
oh yeah. And we try not to rejoice too much when it's really tasty, but because we're not supposed to have an attachment to it tasty. But I mean, let's just be real. When you're
like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah,
this tastes like Mama's cooking.
Yeah, we never got any like steak or anything. But one time I remember one farmer had some trouble with inoshishi, a big wild boar, on his property, and so he brought an inoshishi to us. And the abbot was like,
you had to clean it yourself?
Who is going to do this? This is a dirty job.
They just brought an entire boar.
Cleanish.
Was it gutted?
It was gutted and bled.
But it wasn't like quartered out or anything.
Yeah. It was like still a pretty, the beginning of that work.
Okay.
The blood was out.
You have to know what you're doing.
Yeah. And some of us, there were some older monks, who had been around. I could have handled it. I wasn't in charge of the kitchen at that time, but, there was a debate. And it was like, well, we definitely don't really want to cook it here.
Just smoke the whole thing and
but let me say, when at the end of it, the head cook at that time did a really great job, and bless his heart for taking that kind of nasty job in doing the best he could with it, and we felt the nutrition. Let me just say that we were like, oh yeah, let's go do some work.
So it didn't go to waste.
No, absolutely. That's the most important value, is no waste.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, and so was there any point in time when you were on this journey, especially in Eiheiji, where you're like, I'm done. I can't do this. I want to quit right now. Did it ever get to that point, or you just kind of endured?
It was like that every day.
Oh God.
Literally from the very first day.
And they do that and do people quit
Yeah.
along the way?
Yeah.
What percentage, if you start and you have your 2 years, sounds like you can get moved around a bit. From the day you start to the day you're actually finished and I guess become an ordained Buddhist monk.
Well, you're ordained before you go in, but
Oh.
you kind of well, sort of. It's not there's no official thing. It's sort of your relationship with your master.
I see.
And there you decide how long your training will be. And
Oh, okay.
So-
So not everybody's is 2 years.
some people are in there for 7 or 8 years. And my master was
7
in
or
for
8?
Yeah, my master was in training for 12.
Is there any like 6 months?
Yes, there are people who go
Okay.
for half a year. Yeah, yeah.
And what defines that amount of time?
The master's understanding of what their student needs. Well, deshi is the Japanese word for the student. So what their deshi needs, and so for example, I was married, and my wife gave me permission to go do this thing, to leave her alone with no job, me with no job, not supporting our home. I saved up money and gave her all the savings, but we talked about it, and it was like, yeah, probably a year and a half. At worst, maybe close to 2 years. And it ended up being fully 2 years.
So you don't know exactly when, it's like, I don't want to say it's a prison sentence, but it's like one day you're like,
Yeah.
you're free to go. And you're like, today's my day. You're like, today's your day. Is it
Well,
like that?
yeah,
Or
yeah,
do you
I
have
mean,
some kind of...
Yeah, your master has to do a lot of sort of official, really ancient style paperwork with like handwritten Chinese characters, documents with big red stamps
calligraphy
and stuff.
and
Yeah,
stuff, yeah.
Has to be done very officially, and
That takes 2 years.
yeah, basically, it felt like that. Yeah, and if you make one small mistake, then you have to rewrite it from the beginning again. It was pretty grueling, and you can only leave monasteries at 2 points during the year, and
Obon and
yeah. So
New Year's.
not even during New Year's, but Obon is one. But there's like one time in the early part of spring when the monastery sort of opens a little bit, and that's the time when people are going to finish and leave the monastery. That's the time they leave. Of course, if you have like a really big emergency, you can leave. It's not unreasonable that way, but as a rule, like you can't just freely come and go. And yeah, so I've kind of lost your question. I'm sorry.
I think we covered let me ask you this. What's the hardest part about the training? I'm sure it sounds like every day is just very difficult for a reason, but what would you say is the most difficult part of the Buddhist training?
You never know you might have an idea about the schedule, but you don't know what your job will be within like that day's activities.
So your job can change from day to day.
It changes from day to day intentionally. So you learn a lot of jobs depending on the department that you're assigned to. Like even in the small monastery, for example, like you're with a couple of different other monks in charge of the ringing the bells and hitting the drums and stuff. Or
sounds like fun.
yeah, it is. It really is. Unless you mess up, which happens. It's there. You kind of get you mess up. Well, how to say that? It's a chance for you to mess up. You try not to, but you're going to. And then when you do that, what do you do then? That's the point, really.
How do you react to it?
Yeah, how do you react to being yelled at? How do you react to yourself making the mistake? Do you, and in the big monastery, it's like a whole department. There could be 12 monks who are in charge of all the bells because the monastery has a lot of them. And there's a lot of different little jobs to be done. And each department has its own set for 10 monks or so. And those jobs get rotated every day. And
sounds like a scheduling nightmare.
Oh, it is. It was just one of the senior monks in that department just like has the list of names and then just writes the names in a
pulling cards.
Yeah, exactly. Really sort of a gamble. And then you look at it, maybe the night before you know what you're going to do tomorrow, and then you get up and you do it. And then sometimes it changes. You're just like, oh crap, that bell has got to be rung in 20 seconds. Oh God, I'm not going to make it. And you go, you go running out. And then as you're running down the hallway, another senior monk says, why are you running in the hallway? And you're like,
put those scissors away.
Yeah. But that's all there for you to learn from. So not knowing what you're going to do is the hardest thing.
Yeah, okay. To me, I would I don't know, I kind of like that. I don't like routine.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
like routine. I like to change it up. Some people have to have routine, right? I'm not that kind of person. Years ago, I did a commercial where one part of the commercial I was in like a Buddhist temple, and for some reason, I don't know why, but I had to like bend over, and this Buddhist monk like basically beat me with the stick,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
across the shoulder blades.
Well, there's
Is
not.
that real?
Oh, yeah, it's absolutely real.
Yeah, I was like, ow, it
That
kind of hurt.
I'm looking around to see if there was one sitting
Hopefully
around.
not that long one.
No, 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 no. It's called a kyosaku, and that,
Kill sucker.
yeah,
Like that.
it's kind of like the bottom where you hold is like kind of like a katana handle. Kitana janai, it's katana, and then but it goes flat
Yeah.
toward the end, and so you use
It's
that.
about like this long or something. Yeah.
And you use that flat end, and it makes a really loud bark,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have much bite.
Yeah. I mean, it did.
It does
I
hurt.
could feel it.
But yeah, but it, like that pain is like superficial.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I could
I
take
mean,
it.
if somebody-
I didn't cry or anything.
Yeah. Good job.
He nicked my ear. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, like my master's time, like 50 years ago in monasteries, I heard stories, not from my master, but from other older monks who said that back in the old days, you'd be sitting zazen and falling asleep on the meditation platform, and a senior monk would walk behind you very quietly and just surprise, and smack you. And if your head went that way accidentally, they would catch your ear. And some people lost
Oh,
their whole ear sometimes.
that's why you got to get some cauliflower ear like me. Hang on to that.
Take the shock. But at some point, there was a.
What are they using, a katana? Like what?
No, it's just that thin piece of wood just catches that edge.
Got some weak ears just taking
Yeah.
off those ears.
Mine are soft. They would definitely come off. But I don't know when, but at some point they changed the manner. So they gently, sometimes firmly, just tap you on the shoulder, like about like that. And then if you're kind of nodding off because you're exhausted, not sleeping enough, and not eating enough in the monastery, and you go, oh no, I'm about to be struck. Then when you feel that, you have to put your hands in gasho, and then you tilt your head to the left. And it's always your right shoulder. It's never your left shoulder. Traditionally.
Yeah, I think it was this side that he hit me.
Do you know
when
why?
He did it. I don't know, for all my sins.
No. It's always your right shoulder.
No,
because,
why the right shoulder?
Because we wear our, the Buddhist okesa is always worn over the left shoulder.
So we want less
We
padding.
don't, well, yeah, and we don't abuse the Buddha's robe.
I see.
So even in the Thai traditions, of course, you see those pictures of monks with the robe with looks like they have long sleeves on. It's actually just one of these that's big enough to cover their whole body, and it's twisted up and worn over their body in a certain way. But it's the same thing.
Yeah.
In Zen, ours are a little bit smaller, so they only fit over this way. But in the Thai traditions, inside the monasteries, they can open it up and take out their right hand so they can do stuff. Their left hand is always holding this sort of coiled up corner of their robe so it stays on their arm, but they can free their right hand. In Japanese Zen, of course, we're wearing more clothes because it came through China where it's cold. And so, just this is enough. But that's why we only hit the right side.
Okay, interesting. I love learning these little tidbits of information. I love those. Like, I was in Quiz Bowl in high school. It's because I loved all these little things, and I was not good at math, but the random question no one else knew,
Sure.
I could pick them up. So I appreciate the insight. If we can get into, well, we got a couple maybe daily life questions for you. So what is like a normal day-to-day life for you? Are you only doing this? Do you do any work outside of this? How much do you get paid?
How much do I get paid? I get paid just enough. And sometimes I'm out holding the bowl that I eat out of and singing Buddhist sutras in order for people to put money in, begging. It's called takuhatsu.
Takuhatsu?
Yeah, it's where you see a monk with the big round, like thatched hat.
Have you done that recently?
I haven't done it in about a month.
So if you see somebody with the big thatched hat holding a bowl like this, you would highly recommend giving them some money.
Mhm. Or if you've got like a cookie in your pocket, you can put that in the bowl too.
Okay, just even some food would
Anything,
be okay.
and even if you're like, you know what, I really want to screw this guy up, and you go in a convenience and you like get a plastic bag and put a bunch of beer in it, whatever, you give that to him too.
Even some beer?
Yeah.
Awesome.
You might
You're
get
gonna turn him into an alcoholic, and all he needed was a bowl of rice.
The funny thing is, one, they have to receive that. Two, it looks real bad to be standing there with a bag full of beer.
Is this a joke that like monks play on each other when they?
Yeah, sometimes if another monk is like, walking around in disguise, not in monk's clothes, and they go, oh, I know who that is, and they do something like that on purpose, just because then you're like, well,
like a bottle of whiskey or something.
I just have to go home. I can't I have to receive it. That's the rule. But like, also, it doesn't look good for me to have a bunch of beer. But
a bunch of beer and magazines near the front.
Yeah. Oh no, not those magazines. Good God, yeah. You could do that. They would still have to receive it. But that would be a really, basically.
That is not respectful.
No, it's not. But it's still pretty funny. Zen monks operate like purity is not something that how to say this? What is pure? Like there's a great Zen phrase that's no mud, no lotus. A lotus is so like hydrophobic. Nothing sticks to it. So even though it grows in the nastiest, filthiest...
Hydrophobic, wow, nice use of language there. I love that word.
Yeah, so they grow in the nastiest, filthiest mud, and they're always in water, but they're always pristinely clean. And even after they die, they stay clean for a long time. And it's precisely because they grow in filth that such purity can emerge. And so a Zen monk doesn't hide in a forest. Our job is to be in society with everyone, in the muck. And
again, stoicism.
Yeah, right? and to keep ourselves upright and sincere. And that is the profound purity of Zen practice for a monk, and can be for non-monks who are studying and practicing Zen too. So yeah, you can, if you want to be a stinker.
I've been known.
Yeah.
So you do get paid, but it's just enough. And can you work outside? Are there any kind of rules to govern what you can do outside of your practice being a Buddhist monk?
Technically, in Zen, there are no rules. Even the former abbot of this temple was a school teacher. And so like a regular day would be, for a monk, ideal situation. Not always ideal, but an ideal situation would be that we wake up very early, maybe 4 or 4:30, and then we do a little zazen, a little Zen meditation, and then we sit like in this space with this big bell, and we ring the bell and we chant sutras.
Can we ring it one more time? Not now.
Oh yeah.
But before we end,
for sure.
Sorry, I did interrupt.
And they chant some sutras, and then we clean every morning. We clean the temple. And it might just be, if it's just one person in a big space like this, you might choose one area and clean that for the day, and it rotates. And eventually, through a week, you get the whole place clean. And then you might have, after that morning cleaning, you eat breakfast. And then, if you're a school teacher, like the previous abbot of this temple was, then you go off to school and do your schoolwork. If you're able to work, if your temple work supports your life enough, like you have enough temple supporters who give donations, that you're in Japanese we call seikatsu. What do we call that in English? Like your
family, or
your living lifestyle. Your lifestyle is supported enough. Like you can eat and your bills are paid, because we still, monks have cell phones and stuff, and like I have an Apple Watch that's left over from a previous life. So until it dies, I will keep using it. But to pay for normal stuff, then if you have enough work in your temple, then maybe you're doing that kind of work then, like meeting with people, or also doing ceremonies for people if they have that request. Or when people die, in Japan, a lot of times it's a Buddhist monk's job to take care of the funeral and to talk with the family as they're dealing with their grief. because the Buddha's teachings are quite medicinal for that manifestation of suffering in human life. And then around noon, typically there's one more set of sutras that we would chant if you have free time, if you're not doing a funeral or meeting with people. And then you eat lunch. And then in the afternoon, there's another like 3 hours or so where you would be working. We call it samu. And it would be like, could be doing ceremonies, it could be cleaning some other part, or it could be like, oh, there are trees nearby that need to be trimmed or whatever, or the garden needs to be maintained. And you do that in that time for 3.5 or 4 hours, maybe. And then there's a limit. You don't go crazy with it. And then in the evening, you chant more sutras, and then you eat dinner. And then you, well, in Japanese tradition, you take a bath shortly after dinner. And then in Zen, in an ideal situation, you do more zazen before you go to sleep, usually 2 times. But sometimes in the year, there are days where the whole day is committed to zazen. If you have no job to do, it's the winter, the grass isn't growing, the trees are not crazy, there's not a lot of cleaning to do, then you might do the morning cleaning, and then more zazen, and then chant, and then eat, and then more zazen, and more zazen, and more zazen, and more zazen, and then chant, and then eat, a bath, more zazen, and more zazen. Could be like that.
Interesting. It can never be enough zazen meditation.
Never.
Yeah. Great. Okay. If you guys watched to the very end, well then, Buddha bless you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for Eshin and his master and Buddha brother for allowing me to come in to the temple and have these great conversations that we always have. This is part 2 of 3, so the third part is going to be coming in the next couple weeks. So stay tuned for that. Please like and subscribe for more videos about Buddhism with Eshin, and then also just life in Japan in general. Really appreciate it, guys. Thank you again, Eshin. You are the best. See you guys next time.